Welcome to the Evening Gamer. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Guy. Welcome, everybody.
This is it. This is it for the year. Another
The
year.
last one,
The
the
last
last
one.
one for the year, season 2. We're pulling it to a close. It's been a hell of a year, and
Hasn't it?
I'm stoked, man. We're doing a good game today. We're talking about. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, the old Ark Raiders.
The old Ark Raiders.
And
It's been
it's
everywhere.
it's dominated a fair bit of my December so far.
It certainly has taken over mine. It's made me drop couple of other games I was playing and just focusing on this one. And it's one of those ones where, we'll obviously get into it in a minute, but, it leaves a mark on you. You switch that bad boy off and you sort of lying in bed thinking about what happened and the rage you had.
100% thinking or speaking about things you lie in bed and think about. Have you ever heard of a YouTube channel called Wifies or Wifies or Wi-Fi's? A month ago, they did this like horror Minecraft video
Yeah.
called Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist. If you're like
Okay.
into like eerie stories and you love Minecraft, 100% go and watch that.
Okay.
It was,
All right.
it's already got like 10 million views or something.
Yeah.
It was so much fun for me to watch last night. Like, absolutely loved it. It's not even like
Okay.
about Minecraft. It's in Minecraft. So
Yeah.
about Minecraft. It's
All right.
was really, really great.
Fair. All right. We'll
I
take
just
that
thought,
recommendation on notice. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll drop it in this episode's bio, a link to it. It was so good to watch.
Okay, all right. I mean, I've seen there's been a couple of Minecraft clips that have ended up going into like I don't know, huge millions of watches or something. I've
Yeah.
never really dipped my toe into it, but it's clearly captured hearts and minds of many.
I mean, it's a hell of a game, but I also thought just the idea they had to like, because Minecraft's the easiest world to tell a story in. You can build a world
Yeah,
and then just have a dude and tell a story in it. And but this one, it's very like eerie, like conspiracy kind of thing. It's this guy found a laptop in a storage unit that had Minecraft installed, and there's this really weird world in that Minecraft game, which they
okay,
explore. And it's a hell of it goes for 40 minutes on YouTube. It's actually really
all right,
enjoyable. So I'll drop
all
that
right.
in
I'll
the
give it a
bio.
watch. Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll give it a
Um,
watch. I'll give it a watch.
in other news, the cricket. How good are the Aussies?
Oh, no, it's phenomenal. But I did get recently some feedback going that, as much as you and I are sporting fanatics, it may not be the reason why people listen to this podcast. I sort of feel like sometimes we've got to get back on the gaming train and focus in
Yeah.
on that.
But you know what? Then I heard an old speech by Steve Jobs where he's like, "You can please some of the people some of the time." And I think that's a great saying. And I also think like if you're listening, just remember that every minute of this podcast has been curated and created to bring you endless entertainment. We're not trying to piss you off. We're not trying to fucking shove an agenda down your throat. We're just trying to make you laugh, get you around gaming, some other updates. And yes, the Aussies are dominating in the Ashes. I know a
They
lot of our
certainly are.
listeners are Australian. So I would flick that on today because there's a very strong possibility that entire competition wraps up today.
Yeah, the whole series.
You know,
Yeah.
the writing's on the walls. What you been up to though? I know you've been playing a lot of Ark Raiders. Anything else on the radar?
Hey, geez, going out a fair bit recently with the end of the year, the end of the season coming up. It's sort of causing a fair few midweek drinkies occurring. It's a bit
Mm,
dusty, but it's good. It's a hell of a time to be alive, my man. There's a lot of good games to be playing. There's a lot of fun to be had.
I agree. Gaming's in a great spot at the minute, especially with the addition of Ark Raiders, which we're obviously speaking about today. I feel like I'm still loving Apex, but it was getting to the point where it's like I would love something fresh, and I've been dying for a game, a shooter looter game that would grab me. I reckon since the first Destiny, really.
Yeah. I
So
mean, yeah, I think this Arc Raid is like I put it in the bracket of, the last time a game grabbed me by the fucking throat was probably Apex. That
mm,
just absolutely made me go, I want to play this game. I want to come home from work. I want to get on. I'll play with the missus. I'll play with you lads. I'll play with anybody. I'm recommending it to every single person I know who games. Like it's been a long time between drinks, and this game is a winner.
100%. So good that they would have benefited so much of that. Gamers give good recommendations to other gamers, and I feel like this game is just
But
going to
yeah,
continue to grow as each individual picks it up and just passes it
yeah.
on.
I'm still surprised though. Like I was looking at the concurrent game account on it, and like I think it's capped at about 500,000 players max on Steam. And you sort of go like, for as many gamers as there are out there, I'm still talking to people who are not probably as clued in to games as you and I obviously are. And many of them I'm sort of going, oh, have you started playing Ark Raiders yet? And they're like, oh no, like, some of them haven't even heard of it. And so you sort of like, obviously this pod, if you listen to this pod and you haven't gotten on that game, go away, learn one thing from us is just give it a go. Just give it a try, get on it now, and you will thank us, and you and I was a little bit aware of it, when it was in early access. And then I think our Iron Cowboy wrote in and was like, yo, it's really good, you should give it a try. And lo and behold, you and I, as we've said, it has captured us exceptionally well.
Yeah, no, 100%. But before we get into a bit of a rant about Ark Raiders, there's some other news on the agenda today.
There is some other news.
Naturally,
we obviously the game of the year occurred. And last episode, you and I were hypothesizing over who was going to take it out, and I was adamant it was going to be Expedition 33.
Whoa, hang on.
It swept the awards.
I was also pretty adamant it was going to be Expedition 33, but just to mix it up, I went Silksong. And yeah, so that one game of the year. There's obviously a number of other categories that we'll get into in a moment. But I think Expedition 33 as a whole, where it came from, the developers, how clean it was, the storyline, how good that game was. I think it's pretty deserving of 2025 Game of the Year. What do you reckon?
Yeah. No, I mean, I said it in the last episode. It was, it deserved all its accolades. It was something so different, so fresh. It's kind of like Ark Raiders, in where it came from. Totally deserved winner. Stoked for it. Deserves it.
Yeah, 100%. And I certainly enjoyed it. And I think also the year that it's won in deserves some recognition too. Like, this has been a pretty big year. Like, there's been a number of big drops.
Yeah.
Certainly some big drops, as we discussed, didn't deliver, but still you got to beat out that competition, and they did well to do so. So I feel like 2024 wasn't the best year to be Game of the Year. Like, great if you had a product that was good enough to get nominated and win it, but certainly not as kind of stacked as 2025. So it's won it in a year where it's earned its stripes.
And I think like it's looking ahead, because obviously there was a number of games that were announced in the Game of the Year awards, and I've got a whole list of them, and each one I was like, I'm excited for that. That looks sick. Can't wait to play that. Looking ahead at next year and the years after that, post-COVID, games are coming out at a rate of knots. This year I struggled to complete maybe, I reckon, half the games I kind of wanted to run through. I can list off, Mafia Old Country, Dying Light the Beast, hell, even that Star Wars game from Ubisoft. I was like, give that one a go. But there's been so many that I've just struggled to get my teeth into, just obviously evening gaming, where do you find the time? So looking ahead, it's going to be tough to find the time. Like, I'm even thinking if Ark Raiders continue to hold me down, over this Christmas holiday period, I'm probably going to struggle to get through any of the other games I want to play because I'm so hooked on that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Hey, I've noticed the games have gotten longer. Their DLCs have gotten bigger. And I think that's intentional. I think that when a new game is dropped, that developer and publisher wants to keep you on that game for a long time. Like, they want the player count for a long time. They want DLCs to be well received. Like, gaming is definitely moving in a space where it's like you can't really play more than 2 games at once. And usually it's a heavy storyline RPG game in conjunction with like a Minecraft, with like a shooter, something that's not story heavy. Like, that's usually, I would say, 99% of gamers, they're operating between those 2 games at any one point in time. I don't think anyone has enough bandwidth to add another RPG in there. You just can't.
Yeah. No, too true, mate. But yeah, we should before we get into Ark Raiders, because we are slipping into it as we tend to do as we segue away around our pod, is we got a competition. We are announcing a new competition for the Evening Gamer in conjunction with Fungies. We're partnering up, putting up a competition. It's been a little while since we've run one, so it's by time. So the T's and C's are this. If you email or message us on Insta or whatever platform, your gamer tag and what is the story behind it. Where did it come from? What does it mean to you? You know, what game did it originate from? We want to hear the backstory of your gamer tag, the favorite one, judged by T and I, that we like the most, that speaks to us, or, you know, is the funniest, or whatever it may be. We'll get $100 and possibly a free Fungi as well with the partnership. And Fungi's being the sick profile picture T and I have been really enjoying over the course of the last few months, I'd probably say. And they're done by gaming artists. They're unique to you. You can even whack your gamer tag on it, you know, hence the competition. So it's probably the easiest competition we've run as compared to the last one where we said review a game and we got, you know, pages of content. This one, just keep it short and sweet. Iron Cowboy, I'm looking at you. You know, where did it come from? Give us the backstory, and we'll announce it in the first episode next year.
Get involved. This is myself and Guy, or Guy and myself, as he's always correcting me on. We've been looking for a way to incorporate more storytelling from our fan base into episodes, and I think the stories behind your gamer tags is the easiest way and a really creative way, and could be a really fun way. So if you're listening right now, go into your email, type in info@theeveninggamer.com.au, chuck your gamer tag, have a draft that you draft over a couple of days, send it over. I want like hundreds of write-ins for this, because over the course of like, I don't know, 10 to 20 episodes, I'd love to read them all out. Have a go, get around it, and $100 to throw towards a PFP.
$100. Yeah, it's the easiest $100 you could ever make. But yeah, we'll have it all over our socials as well. You know, if you're listening to the pod, you're probably getting a first run at it, you know, first in, best dressed. But we'll announce it in the first episode next year. Let's now move to Ark Raiders and wade on into that swamp.
Let's do it. You're dying to talk about this game.
I'm dying.
I haven't seen you.
I've written notes on this. I got pages on this
in some time. So hit me up.
Here we go. All right. So it was released 30th of October. So we're talking not maybe 2 months ago. And it won then multiplayer game of the year. So within 2 months, and listen to the other games it was up against: Battlefield 6, Elden Ring Night Reign, Peak, and Split Fiction. Like, that is almost, to my eye, more of a stacked category than even the Game of the Year award winner. You know, Expedition 33, we went through the nominees last week and we kind of knocked a few out going, oh, Hades 2, it's a sequel, it's this. Each of those are different, unique, you know, and rightfully multiplayer games, but Ark Raiders took it out. And I don't know if you've watched the clip of when they announce it. It's sick. You got Mila Jovovich, who's the chick from Resident Evil, and she's like, you know, on the stage, she's got the card in front of us, and she's like, multiplayer game of the year, reads out the nominees. People are screaming, going like, Ark Raiders. And she announces it, and she's like, it's Ark Raiders. And you're like, fuck yes, let's go. It's fucking so good the way she announced it.
I have seen that, and I also think you're right. The competition that was around it is pretty crazy, because they're all individual games that dominated their own space this year. Like Split Fiction was huge. Everyone was talking about it. The clips were everywhere. Battlefield took on COD and easily won that battle. Elden Ring Night Reign was super anticipated and actually delivered. Like, I don't think, by no stretch of the imagination, was Elden Ring Night Reign a miss of a game. So for something to be the clear choice and for people to be stoked that it won a particular category, speaks to, in essence, what this game has done, which obviously we'll speak about more in a moment. But you're exactly what I was saying before. Like, in a year where there are quite a few big drops and quite a few games that demanded quite a bit of space, like, to win after 2 months or 3 months or whatever you said, being on the market, to be the clear choice is pretty crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, this is sweeping the gaming landscape like a wildfire. Like, it is quite unique to see something like this. Like, I'm now seeing pretty much every streamer is now streaming on this game. You know, you've all the ones who used to be on Apex now look to be on this. You know, and like Burnt Peanut, that guy's clips are just about everywhere. He was nominated for Streamer of the Year, and his clips are hilarious. Like, every time I watch him, it gets me in stitches. So it was developed by Embark Studios. So it's a company with a number of ex-DICE employees who are Battlefield developers, and they're based out of Stockholm. And as I sort of said before, you know, it was in early access. I was kind of a little bit aware of it. Then we dived in, and like, honestly, like, there is so many components to this game to how to break it down. But for you, the listener, you know, I was chatting to a mate the other day, and he was like, "All right, give me the 411. Like, what's the basics of this game? What's the deal with it?" So it's a PvPvE extraction shooter. The goal is you go into a map, you basically get loot, wherever you can. There's sort of lockers, you can sort of break open safes, whatever. And there's a huge variety of loot that you then have to extract with, and you have to avoid robotic enemies. Some of them are flying, some of them are sort of walking around. You've kind of got the alien face hugger kind of thing in there as well. It's taken sort of, alien kind of vibes, but they're all machines. And then as well with other players. And one tidbit of trivia I didn't sort of know, so in the digging of it I realized, is it's actually set in Italy, is where all the maps are actually based out of. And the lore of the games, it's the year 2180, a year before these hostile machines began attacking humanity, and they've all been forced underground in a city called Speranza. And each sort of time you load into a game, you're basically going up topside and going around these huge maps with huge different POIs, with a massive variety of those POIs. You can really tell they have not reused assets to a point where, sometimes in multiplayer games, you're like, I've seen that wall, I've seen that lamppost. It's copy paste all over the place. This one, each of them are so unique, and you like Buried City, Blue Gate, Damn Battlegrounds. Then you've got what's the indoor one, Spaceport, Stella Montes, and each one of them have such a different tone to them. And then within the game, you've got map variations where it'll be a nighttime raid, or it'll be an electronic storm hitting the battlefield all around you, or they've just released a snowy update. And like all these varieties just make the map variation good, that it's not like every game feels the same. And you add that on top of the variety of, you've got quests in games, you've got your deck, which is basically a battle pass, then you've got ranks, then you've got upgrading all your desks to be able to build better loot. It's got a whole component of, when you first start playing the game, you do a free loadout. When you do a free loadout, you get basically the most basic kit gear, and if you extract with that, you can easily upgrade it into then a combat deck gear, basically. And between each level, you're basically selecting what are you going to come into the game with, and you've got your shield recharges, your med kits, definitely bring some grenades, what weapons you want to run with. And honestly, like I know T probably feels the same way. When we catch up and talk about this game, we both come away with telling stories of these moments in these games that just leave a mark on you, and that's why it is such a unique multiplayer game. That the last time games like this came out, it's like with Apex, we'd walk away and we go, I had a game last night and we went deep and, we ended up winning, and it was sort of a 3v1 situation. With this, it's like, last night I was loaded into a game, the proximity chat, started chatting to a dude nearby. Me and him were like, let's take out a bombardier. We then rolled this bombardier, took it out, and we're like, right, let's take on a leaper together now. Saw another player fighting the leaper, so the three of us gave it a roll. Basically rinsed all our ammo, pretty much all our grenades. The one guy who was playing with from the start went down on knees, couldn't res him. So me and this other random dude with the last two used my last grenade to pop this guy. The other guy then shot me in the back with a shotgun and took all the loot. And it was just like, like everybody has these moments in this game with the proximity chat where you basically blagging your way through the game and then you end up in some Mexican standoff killing each other. It's just something unique.
Yeah, and I think just coming back to the description, like if you're trying to envisage this game and you haven't played it, like imagine the 2013 film Tom Cruise Oblivion meets Mandalorian almost.
Yeah.
And with a little bit of Star Wars Rogue One in there. And just coming back to your point there, as you're right, it challenges you on so many different levels. But the one that's most enjoyable is the whole point of building a loadout is that you're risking that loadout every time you go down.
Every time.
Or every time you go up topside, right, to loot. So, and also if you play solo, you're not resable. Like you get one go at it, you have to get your loot, you have to extract successfully. So there's so many different angles this game challenges you on, but probably the best one is the progression. Like you are very, very outgunned. It's actually rather difficult to survive a very successful raid topside, where you take on multiple enemies, you maybe cross paths with a number of different raiders. they're when you finish a raid like that and it goes for like 15, 20 minutes, you're in the lift going back to base and you're like, I cannot believe that I made
Yeah.
that I got out of there. And you're right. It's just the unknowns of it. It's like, do I team up with someone? Can I trust them?
Yeah.
Or like, do I have enough resources to take on this enemy? And I just love that there's, for me anyway, in the game, there's been a clear progression of where I started and how difficult it was to survive, how difficult it was to get kills and loot, and like where I am
Yeah.
now and how I'm starting to become a little bit more powerful, starting to be able to take on these much larger enemies. Like getting that right can be really difficult because people, I said this in a previous episode about, it's like shooter looters, they take a particular skill set, particular level of patience. And I think that the people that build the game need to make it worthwhile for you to not so much grind, give the game enough time to give you something back and keep it entertaining at the same time. And I think Ark Raiders has gotten that all right. And like
Yeah.
when I think of like looter games, and what I mean is like when you come back and you've got X amount of loot and you use that loot to build something else, or you break it down into something else, and those parts go into another thing. That game framework can actually get pretty exhausting and it can
Yeah.
get pretty complex. And like I think the two others that I've played a lot of probably been Subnautica was very much like this, and
Yeah.
Minecraft. You know, things build other things, they break down into other things. You need multiple things to build multiple things. And like you almost need this huge A10 piece of paper on your wall
Yeah.
in your room that says, what do I need?
What do I keep? What do I
Arc
leave? Yeah.
Raiders for me, and maybe it's because I had a little bit of experience in that game arena or that kind of genre. It's not complicated for me. One or two
Yeah.
things build one or two things. They break down into one or two things. You can actually start guessing what things break down to because they're similar kind of supplies or
Yeah.
crafting materials. And I just think that they've made that so digestible for the average shooter gamer that this game is going to take off. And you're absolutely right. Like it's just the whole thing's enjoyable. You feel eerie
Mm.
in there. You feel not protected. You feel in danger. And then the reward of finding something good, beating a matriarch, beating a huge enemy and extracting, and
Yeah.
sometimes doing it with a stranger you met in game, or if they're trying to betray you, whatever the challenge is that you find yourself having,
Yeah.
game by game, gamer by gamer. It's all time. Like this would be like I
Yeah.
was playing Apex the other day and I went to check my stats and I saw Apex is up to season 27.
Jesus.
Season 27. Like we're going to
Yeah.
be at 10 years of Apex soon. And like you just don't think that these shooters will survive that long because we are so used to a COD every year. We're so used to a Battlefield every
Yeah.
3 years. That some of these games, Fortnite, Apex, now Ark Raiders, they're going to be around, man, because they've owned their space. They've done it better than anyone else. It was fresh. It was new. This is going to be
Yeah.
around for a long time, I reckon. And I'm so excited to see the updates, the new writings that they bring into it, the downloads, the maps, whatever they do with it. I'm like here for it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be one that'll stand the test. At least be, in the top spot for quite a while over the course of this year. That's for sure.
100%. And I also love the juxtaposition between you as the gamer. So, like, the perfect example here is I started off killing lots of raiders. Like, as you do, you play any shooter, you see an enemy, you go, oh, it's almost like trigger happy. You can't help yourself, right? But you learn pretty quickly it's actually not the most effective way to play this game. Sure, it is sometimes. But here's what I loved about the juxtaposition between those two different setups is like, once I stopped killing raiders, obviously the matchmaking kicked in. And that's their attention to detail in Ark Raiders, is the matchmaking not only is your skill-based, which we're so used to and probably a bit fatigued with as gamers, but also the decisions you make. Like that's pretty new. Like the decisions
Mm.
how often do you run past a raider and not shoot them? Like the game is
Yeah.
calculating that, putting you with like-minded individuals. That's crazy to me. Like that's
Yeah.
just the new way of matchmaking, which I'm such a big fan of. It
Yeah, it's
also
it's
like
an interesting way to do it though. With the any game, the matchmaking often would go on the loot you might have, the level you were at the time, but this one's factored in the kind of player that you are. Like it's probably got numerous components to it, but you were finding that when you first started playing, a lot of people were backstabbing and just shooting on sight. And I was having a very different experience because I was choosing not to do that, and I was going on mic friendly and like trying to work together. And, it is the way I was doing it now there is occasionally some backstabbing because it's like of probably a level progression where it's put me into a bracket where people go, I know you have mushrooms. I need mushrooms. I'm going to kill you for your fucking mushrooms because I just saw you at the tree that has the fucking mushrooms on Spaceport.
Well, yeah, this is what I was going to say, is that like there was a couple of games there where there were a couple of games there where I was working with a lot of raiders, like in solos, and maybe I had like 3 or 4 other raiders around me, which is super dangerous. They could
Yeah.
kill me at any time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I did that for like 2 days and didn't get shot, didn't have a firefight, didn't get killed, didn't get betrayed, anything like that. They was just,
Yeah.
and then exactly what you said, I was trying to get these particular resources that is in a particular spot on a particular map. You had a very short window to get it. You got to get them, get out. Like, and I
Yeah.
had like 3 goes at it, and they were never there. And then the fourth go, I saw a bloke around where they are, and I was like, I've got to kill this guy if I'm going to get these
Yeah.
things. I don't want to, but I'm gonna murder this bloke and take his stuff because I know for a
Yeah.
fact he has what I need.
He's got what I want.
And like again, like there's just the juxtaposition between those two game settings is like really good, super entertaining, lots of fun.
Yeah, it's something unique. You know, like as I said at the outset, you could slice and dice this game from so many different angles. What we should also say, like, you know, I kind of probably didn't say this at the start, is it's not first person shooter. You know, we're talking third person. And, you know, I've been playing it on controller, which, you know, is my forte, even now I've got a rig now. And like, you know, the controller, it does, you know, switching shoulders is a huge component of it to peek around corners. You can kind of get a drop on players pretty easily. And yeah, you know, using that to your advantage is a bit of a tip for you. You know, definitely get that amongst you. One thing I found interesting in the point you made before was in terms of sort of being a looter shooter. I don't find the progression grindy too much. Like you sort of go through it and you go, right, I need, you know, 4 of these to level up my desk to be able to, you know, craft better guns or whatever it may be. And you sort of can see the finish line. You know, sometimes you play looter shooters and you just go, to get, you know, I don't know, diamond armor, you're like, I'm going to be playing this game for, you know, 4 days non-stop to try and gen the resources to be able to achieve what you're trying to do. Whereas in this, you know, it's not, there's obviously a fair bit of RNG around it, you know, not guaranteed loot drops sometimes or whatever it may be. Like there was a day there a couple of days ago where they did an update and blueprints, which is what you need to craft some of the better stuff in the game, had a really high drop rate, you know, and everyone was jumping in at that point going like raid hard now, and then they nerfed it. You know, it's still a little bit better, but it's still not as good. But the interesting point with that is the way they're doing the wipe on it is this expedition where you basically have to supply tons of resources. It's probably the biggest component of resource gathering that they currently have in the game. And you're basically sending your raider off, and if in the next reset you'll then have a few extra level ups and a few other sort of perks and cosmetics and stuff like that. But it doesn't feel like it's a thing that breaks the balance of the game, but it's an optional thing of a wipe to do. And a lot of players are going, I'm not going to do it. Like it's a lot of a grind because you need about 5 million currency. And I've probably over the course of my game time, maybe only gotten a mil, you know, and I don't have the time to grind 5 milli. But, you know, it's, I hope that they maybe in the next one listen to the kind of feedback on that and go, maybe have a 2-track thing of going, right, the streamers, the unemployed, they have this and they get something good. But then if you still want to do the expedition, you know, you've got a second track where it's sort of maybe half the loot, half the benefit. So there's still something that you're trying for, you know, as a thought.
But also, like, I'm a huge fan of that. Like how good that you can play this at your own cadence and it's not going to change for you. Like you can get from level 0 to 75 at your own pace and experience this game how you want. And that level's not going to be taken away from you. It's not going to change. And really, in Ark Raiders, your level is the biggest indicator as to how much you've played, how much experience you've gained, how good you are kind of thing. Like I always think that like we've seen ranked as kind of the way that a lot of other FPS games have done that. And you're right, this is third person shooter. It's in a different, you know, parallel, if you will. But like, I just think that the ranked turnarounds and seasons in other games are too quick. Like, it's like you can't, like, if you don't play all day, every day, you can't really get a decent rank. And there's really no, like, I don't play ranked on Apex anymore. There's no point. Can't spend enough time doing it. Yeah. Imagine if that rank built up over 6 months or a year. And I just like that in Ark Raiders, they're saying, here's the choice. if you want to, you can. Like,
Yeah.
and you'll get extra things and you'll be identified as a player that's done that. It's almost like having that first or second prestige badge in COD,
Yeah.
right? That no one else has. Like everyone will know, oh, that guy's done that thing. So he's on his
Yeah.
second run and it's fresh for you. There's some bragging rights there, but also just to give the choice. It's kind of
Yeah.
like you could get to 75 in this game, stay there and just keep raiding with all your stuff. If that's if that's how you
Yeah.
enjoy it.
If that's what you want
It's
to
not
do,
going to
yeah.
force you to do anything, which I think is like, I've heard that in games like this, I think what's the other game that's constantly referred to? Escape from Tarkov,
Yes. Yeah.
something like that. It's always
Yeah.
put very side by side by
It's an
that, and
extraction shooter. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's maybe a shooter where they didn't get that rollover kind of prestige right, or it didn't please the gaming community at that time. And I just think that I don't know anything about that. That's just me
Yeah.
speaking
I
for
don't
a
know.
whim, but
It's not one that's ever crossed paths with me.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think Ark Raiders for me anyway has done it perfectly. It's like the choice is there, the autonomy's there, the rewards are there if you want to do it. So yeah,
Yeah. I think, with where this game goes to from here, I imagine they're going to pump cosmetics a fair bit. I love the fact of if you sort of, rank up or get this or get that, you get loot, but then the very next game you could lose that loot, like because of the component of the game. And you do have those ones where you go, right, we want to take on a big arc enemy and you bring in your top tier loot and then you get wasted by some other players and you feel the loss, the horror of it. But the next game you could go a free loadout, you could take that out and then you can craft a bit of this and you've got your blueprint so you can, in a couple of games, get kind of back to where you're at. And if you're sort of hoarding your wealth and your resources, pretty quick you can be like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, I can level up on my guns, I'm back to a pretty strong position to roll it again. And so playing it solo, the vibe different of ratting, and listening to the footsteps to then doing a duos, doing a trios, it's phenomenal, and then the variations of maps just so well thought out. It's
yeah,
something else.
a lot of fun, and it's bringing back partying up gaming. And I know a lot of people didn't lose partying up gaming, and what I mean, like as a group, but it has for me, and like I'm really enjoying it. I love the solos. I love playing with other people as well. Check out Ark Raiders. Just
Yeah.
even start watching some videos, see if it's something you'll like. If you haven't heard of it yet, I'm sure you've probably heard of it. But if you haven't, definitely jump on YouTube or whatever and start looking it up.
I rate this game so highly that like even if you don't like third person gaming, even if you don't like shooter gamers, I've gotten the misses on this, and like there's tons of gamers who are getting their misses on it, going, let's run a duos, and it's just like anybody can play it. Like for any kind of level that you're at, there is kind of something there for you, and it has this quality that it's like, because of the way it can be so different every game, every opportunity, every interaction with other players or an arc enemy, changes the way this game plays. Like, I don't think I've ever played a game that has so much freedom within a game environment. Like, they've laid the landscape for you to just have your own, like, they've given you a semblance of maybe a quest sends you to a place that you might not have gone to, but to then, like, weave it all together, as T was saying before. You load in, you go, right, I'm going to go here first, then I'm going to do this quest, I'm going to check out that thing because I need this specific resource. And then you have this journey along the way with other players, with arc enemies, and then the tension of the extraction. You get out of there with the goop. And you sit back and you just basically like, you basically like, I don't want to be crass about it, but the physical exertion of the focus, it takes your breath away. You just sit back and you go like, I can't believe that I've just survived this ordeal, and the human element of it, of betraying somebody because they've got loot. Like it is, because it is post-apocalyptic. It's kind of one of these games where like, that's kind of what society would kind of be like. You'd basically be looking at these other players going, you've got stuff I need, and I'm debating whether I'm going to kill you, like Walking Dead style kind of shit. It's just a game that you have to give a chance to, and it will get its hooks into you, unquestionably so.
Agreed. Everything Ark Raiders at the minute. Have a go.
Yeah.
Have a whack. Jump. Have a tickle. Get in there. Have a tickle. It's
I don't
Christmas.
know. It's Christmas. You got some time. You got some time over the holidays. But I am wondering, going like, how long will this game keep its hooks into me. Like they are obviously they got a firm roadmap. They've already done a whole bunch of releases. They've got the expedition leaving, the snow that they've just released of the variations. I'm sure there'll be new maps along the way, new things that we can do. But I'm wondering, going, if we look ahead at the next year, and obviously some of the games that were announced, some of these won't be releasing in the next year, but we got the new Control game, Divinity, Tomb Raiders, two Tomb Raiders, 007, Lords of the Fallen 2, Saros, Star Wars Galactic Racer, which I'm sure you and Kyle would love because it's sort of the pod racer.
100%.
Gang of Dragon, Four Loop, I think I'm really interested in, Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, High Guard, which is done by a bunch of former Apex developers as like a sort of could be the next multiplayer shooter kind of thing. So there's so many games to be coming out, but like if Ark Raiders continues like to capture hearts and minds and sort of puts itself at the top, like to beat out Battlefield 6 in this year for multiplayer game of the year, it's going to be at the top of the, sort of pyramid of games for at least the foreseeable future. Like, I'm not sure when it will be taken off top spot.
Yeah, and don't worry about it. Ignorance is bliss. Enjoy it now. Enjoy it enjoy it next year.
When it wraps up.
Yeah, no. Just don't even, don't even worry. Hakuna Matata, motherfucker. Just enjoy it while it's going on. Take your time with it. It'll always be there. Whether it grows into or evolves into something that is all time remains to be seen, but that's gaming. It's good for now. Enjoy it now.
It's true. It's true. I've sort of, I don't know. I like looking ahead and just thinking those moments where it's like, okay, in 2 months from now, you get, I don't know, the 007 comes out or something. And then you've got that toss up, and you're like, am I still giving it Ark Raiders? It would be one that I think, we'll just keep in the back pocket and run every once in a while for a bit of a laugh.
100%. 100%. But that's us for the year. We've released
That is us for the year.
26 episodes to you. We've appreciated you downloading, listening, liking, emailing, rating, reviewing, getting involved. It's been a hell of a year for the podcast. Welcome to all our new listeners. Thanks so much for being here, all our OGs. We've really enjoyed this year. Naturally, we're going to take a bit of a break now.
Yep.
I'd say probably somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks you won't hear from us. We will definitely be back in February, if not earlier. And I guarantee I'm going to Japan, but whenever I can, I'll be playing a lot of Ark Raiders in that space of time as well.
Yeah. No, I appreciate, the sentiment, T, and I totally agree. Stick the journey with us, as we said. We'll keep running these kind of competitions. We'll keep trying to review games and bring you guys content, and keep our finger on the pulse.
That's it.
But it has been a hell of a year, and don't forget that competition. Gamer tag, write in, let us know. We'll announce it in the first episode next year.
That's it. And no, not being NPCs, and keep leveling up and keep doing that, of course. But most importantly, this Christmas, stay safe. Enjoy time with your loved ones, get some gaming done, refresh, have a break, and we will see you in the new year.
Yes, you will.
Thanks, everyone.